Hello. Sorry for a little bit of a delay. We've been resolving some of the network issues here. As usual, they come pretty late. Welcome for waiting for us. Thank you for waiting for us, and welcome to our video transport webinar. Today we are going to cover some of the concepts, how you can use our software to replace some of the conferencing software in the type of hybrid conference environment. And first, let me introduce some of the newcomers who have never seen our software before, what type of software we provide and how it basically works. And then we will go through the actual details, how you can use it for the hybrid conference type of events. So let's start with our first page of our website. I will try to keep things informal today, and if you would like to ask any question, just type in those questions in the chat window. I will try to answer them. Even if you will ask something along my talk today, I will try to go straight to the answers of any of the unclear things. So here is our website, and there are four main scenarios we intended to solve using our software. The first one is to make the video productions with remote contributors when you have all of your hosts sitting at home. It's really useful right now to have a tool which allows you to basically do not leave home and just work from there. And the next one is a multi-camera remote production. Is really useful type of thing. Then you just can send the cameras to the venue and mix everything at your studio, and this can dramatically reduce the costs. And the next one is pretty useful, is monitoring of the feeds using the web browser that allows producers or anyone who is away from the studio to watch your feeds while they are going live and collaborate, even if you have to be at the different parts of the country or the world. And the last one, but probably the most important one for now, is the video conference production, the one we specifically wanted to cover today, since a lot of our clients have been asking how we can do all of those type of events when you have probably someone at the venue and the rest of the people sitting at home and joining the conference, and you would like to make a production with a high quality video feeds for your actual broadcasting without compromises of the typical video conference type of software. And we would like to show you some of the advantages of using our solution in comparison to the well-known other off-the-shelf brands. So let me first start with a quick intro how our software looks. And the basic concept of the software is that we have two applications. One is called VT Publisher, another one is called VT Receiver. And they are pretty simple to use. So here on the left side, you can see all the different video sources I have on my PC here. And I can select any of them. And for example, I've just used one of my vMix outputs, like the studio feed coming from my central location. And all I have to do is just to select it. Then let me just stop it for now. So I can select it, click Start Publishing, and immediately it becomes available at the VT Receiver, which can be across the globe anywhere. So it's right now it's in a local machine, but basically it doesn't really matter. The way it works that all of those software instances are connected through our cloud-based signaling servers, and all you have to do is to use the same license on all the different machines you would like to be interconnected. And once you publish any source at one location, it will be immediately available at another location. So like I showed right now, I've published one source, then I can select it on the receiver end. It takes some time to make the handshake between those two locations, and after a while the video is available. And you can output this video using the NDI or Decklink Blackmagic cards, or it can be AJ, Bluefish, or Magawell cards. So there are a huge amount of different types of connectivity we can provide. So in my case, I have a plenty of Blackmagic Decklink cards, and all you have to do is just to select what output you would like to use, and just click Start Output. And for example, in this case, I have selected the NDI, and now I can use any other tool which can accept NDI signal to receive that. The next important part, which will be crucial for today's application, is that any of those video sources which you have in VT Publisher, you can open it in the preview. That is basically the web-based way of showing the same feed over the web, like I show you right now. So it's the same feed, just going through WebRTC and coming straight to the browser. And it's really fast. The delay in this type of application can be as low as 150 milliseconds. So basically, the producer sitting at home can monitor the feed and make some actions based on what they see. So it doesn't really have that much of amount of delay for transmission. So it's not just like on YouTube you are watching something which happened like 30 seconds ago. It's really something which is happening right now, and you can have the conversation with the rest of your crew along the show. Another part of all this system is our web-based control panel. The first time you register at our website, you come to this page that allows you to download the application, download your license, and read the documentation, so you can get more familiar with what is going on. There's also another option to download the beta version, since we are working on the improvement during, basically we are like making 2 new versions per day, making some improvements. Only some of them of those versions eventually become our release version, which we believe is stable enough to be called as a release. But if you would like to participate in the early testing of any new features we are adding, you are free to download our beta version and test if some of the new features are really useful for you. Sometimes our support team specifically recommend to use any version of those betas, since some of the issues which you might have in your specific scenario might be already resolved in our beta version. So let's go back to the web contribution thing I have been telling about. So one of the ways you can bring the remote contributors to your show is to select the source which is going to be your studio source, and then copy web-guest URL and paste it into your browser. And it takes a few seconds to connect. And then I have my studio feed here, and I have my web camera here at the top. A little bit too bright right now, since it's a decent amount of lights here in the studio. So my webcam is really trying hard to make the right aperture. Sorry for that. But it doesn't really matter for this kind of demoing right now. And let me also open it on another machine as well. I just have my laptop sitting next to me, and I'll have another instance of basically of the same URL. I've just sent it to another machine. And now at the receiver, I do have those two web guests. The one coming from my laptop, which is probably much better than the one which I have connected to my desktop PC. Now I can just output two of those guests, which are basically just a web browser's page opened at the remote machine. And I have the Full HD picture, Full HD for one of them, which is the ugly one, but in Full HD mode right now. But another one is only 720 capable camera, so I have the feed in 720p. And I can immediately get those two feeds into my vMix instance, and I can have something like that multi-viewer. And let me just output this multi-viewer as the studio feed. So now I have my studio feed with the two boxes, and all of my guests, I can show it right now. So the guests have got the picture from this multi-viewer, which you can lay out the way you would like it to be. It's up to you. So yeah, this is basically the main functionality. But the cool feature here is that for all of those remote guests, there are settings for the resolution, the cameras, microphones, etc. And what you can do is basically from your side at the studio, you can just select the specific guests. In my case, the guest 308 is the one which is open on my local machine right now. And I can right-click and open web guest settings here and change any of the settings for the resolution of the camera, selecting the camera itself. It can be anything which is available at the browser at the remote end. It can be a different resolution. For example, let me switch right now to 720p and click OK. And the guest disappeared for a second and then reappeared back with a new resolution. We can go back into our web page and take a look that the resolution in the setting has changed now. So the camera is now working at the different resolution. And you can also see in the video format coming that the resolution has changed. And there was a question from some of our clients that in case if some of the disconnects happened over the network and the guests got disconnected for a fraction of a second, and they had to refresh the page to get connected back. And what we did just in the release which we made today is that now, no matter what happened on your studio side or with the network, for example, right now I will show you that I will just stop streaming from the studio, will just stop publishing, and you can see that the picture has freezed at the side of a guest, and it looks like they had to go to refresh, but actually they do not have to do it anymore. So I just click publishing again, so this streams comes back, and you can see that the stream is back online for all the guests. So we made the really robust reconnection feature in the latest release, so now it should be much more stable for all of those who are struggling with all of those different type of scenarios when the guests were disconnecting eventually due to some network issues. And I hope that it will be really useful for a lot of our clients. So let me answer the first question I got. Is there a way to calculate the amount of NDI to SDI conversion based on the processor? Actually, in case of video transport, we are not just converting from NDI to SDI, we're also doing the encoding, then transmission, and going back. It's more about the compression, actually, not about the conversion from NDI to SDI. We do have the separate tool for NDI to SDI and SDI to NDI. Those tools are available at our website, and you can freely download them to do those types of conversion if you need just that. Yeah, let me return back to the other features we would like to show you today. The main idea of this webinar was to compare our solution to the solution from other vendors. Like, for example, let me just open the Zoom conference here. So why would you prefer to use our solution in comparison to something like Zoom? The main and the most important part is that you never control what Zoom is doing. It's just sending the video feed, and if something goes wrong, it can downscale the picture, and you might get the SD quality image due to the way that you just do not control how the Zoom works. And at top, what you can get from the software like the Zoom is 720p. They can go full HD no matter what you are trying. It's just the maximum of what Zoom can do. And the most important part, apart from the quality of the picture, is that all of those annoying bars at the top and the bottom with all the titles that you usually had to crop in your production, so you do not show any of those buttons, chat windows, and all of a sudden they might pop up if someone just opened the chat window and it's just shifting everything around, or in any other type of this specific things that once again you do not control all the time. And if someone is starting to share their screen, everything is changing, the layout is moving, and it might be a surprise for the engineer who is waiting for, who is working and waiting for something to happen. But anyway, then somebody at the remote end is just switching some buttons. You might have some unexpected results. And in our case, for all the guests appearing, you have a clean, separate feed of every guest. So you can, and at the same time, you can control what settings you have for the cameras of different remote guests. If there is any network issues, you can decide for yourself if you would like to go with a lower resolution to save some bandwidth at the probably not ideal not the ideal conditions of the network at the remote end. So it's up to you to decide what settings you would like. So it's much more flexible in terms of the actual usage of the product. And once again, you are getting the clean image. There is no overlay of any text buttons whatsoever. And it's really useful for the production, which doesn't really have to crop any images or do any other magic to make things look professional. One of the features which is usually underestimated when we are talking about the video is the audio. And usually everybody know that the mixing of the audio coming from the different participants of the conference is something which is done internally, and you don't have to worry about it unless you are working in a real professional environment. In that case, you would like to have a separate audio coming from each individual guest and mix it for yourself to make the proper compression, equalization of the audio coming from each individual guest. But at the same time, you would like those who are participating to hear each other and What we have in our case is that in the settings for the specific feed, you can enable the mix minus feature, which will create the individual mix minus for each participant who are connected to the same web guest URL. So you don't have to worry about providing the separate mix minuses for each individual guests, but at the same time you have a flexibility to have your own control of what you are sending to the live feed while you are doing the production, because you still have all the individual audios from all the guests. It's only the question that this mix minus feature helps you not to create the separate mix minuses for all the guests, so they can talk to each other like they're just in one room, but at the same time everything is under your control. And there are plenty of different settings which you have, and probably if there's any specific one you would like me to cover, you may try to type in your questions, and I will cover some of the specifics, since most of our clients are coming to us with some questions like how I can do something, or why you are not doing something we are expecting. And in most cases, the feature is probably already there, you just don't know how to find it. So probably let's switch to more of the Q&A session right now, so we can discuss a little bit more about some details if you would like. Okay, let me scroll through all the different questions you have. Can you share the screen at the same time as the camera? Right now, in the current software, we don't have an option for that specific case to have the webcam and the screen share at the same time. The workaround for that is to open the same URL twice and have the screen in one case and the webcam at another. And it's a little bit tricky to do right now, that's true, but we are working on a new improvement of our software which will allow you to select the two sources at the same time. And regarding to that specific question, it will help. The next question I'm kind of already answered. How does the product handle audio mix minus? I've tried to cover it in the details, but basically it's all automated. We just do know what guest is connected, and we just exclude their audio, their own audio, from the mix minus. And basically it's since the next question is how it compares to vMix call. Yeah, it basically works the same way. If you're already familiar how vMix call works, it basically works the same way. And to compare to vMix, I have to tell that the reason why our solution is a little bit more robust is that, first of all, you're almost always in control of the environment. So all the connections going straight to your VT publisher on your side, and you're not so relying on the infrastructure of the servers to go through it for any kind of the only reason why you might go through our infrastructure, if there is no direct connection, you will go through turn servers, and in that case our infrastructure is still in place, but most of the time all the video calls are going straight to your VT publisher. And another one is that on most of the devices, vMix call is limited to 720p, which is a little bit different for our software. There are pretty, it's really hard to compare all the different details, what we can do in comparison to vmix call in this case. Vmix call is receiving the feed straight to the software, and in case if you just need to get all of those hundreds of callers and would like to have an SDI output, it will be really tricky to do with the vmix, since you are limited in the amount of IOs on your vmix machine. You have only 4 NDI outputs and basically just 2 SDI outputs. So in our case, you can output all the different guests via SDI or NDI, and so it's more about the flexibility of connectivity, how you can do it. How many web guests can you have with a mix minus? How many guests at the same time? In the current implementations, the limit of the number of mix minuses created for one specific web guest URL is 16. There is an option to get even higher, and let me show first of all how to get 16. If I'll show you back into the settings and scroll down to the bottom of the page, there is the web preview and guest max audio channel settings, which is 16 by default, and you can change it to 32 channels, and that will basically mean 16 stereo pairs, and each individual pair will be used for specific mix minus. So to have the 16 guests, you just have to type in 32 channels here, and this will allow you to have 16 guests. As a workaround, to have even more, you can have a separate mix minus group to have another input and have another group. The only thing here is that you will have to deal with the routing from one guest group to another. So basically, it will be up to you to make the proper audio mixing between the groups. Is VT SDK for Windows only, or also available for Android, iOS for custom app development? Right now we are in the early beta testing of VT SDK, and we hope to release it next year, probably early next year. And yes, it's currently Windows only, but as a part of our transition to VT 2.0, which will be the next major release of our software, we've just added just a piece of this technology in the last release we made today. It's the basic feature of the connection establishment, which is already the part of official release since today. But we still have a lot of work to do to redesign the user interface and the way the internal video and audio routing works inside our software. And this part of redesigning the internal thing is also the part of switching to the cross-platform solution, which will allow us to make the applications for the other operating systems like Android and iOS, as well as macOS. And recently we've been looking at the ARM macOS version as well. And there are a lot of things going in the background. I can't give you any estimates for the actual release dates for those features, but looks like we've been doing really great for the last half of a year, and we are continuing to increase our efforts to make the best possible product and to get the widest spread of it at the different platforms. Can a guest send two cameras feed, or is this need to be open in the second browser? Yeah, you have to open the second tab right now. We are thinking to make some kind of flexible solution to have the remote controllable way of selecting this, not just one feed, but selecting this different amounts of feeds and sending it back, like already described. You probably need screen capture at the webcam at the same time. And we are working on more flexible solution, which supposed to be controlled from a central dashboard, which will allow you to select different amounts of the cameras you would like from the different locations. Share screen, remote control of the share screen. We are not specifically intended to do the remote control for the share screen right now. This is something we would like to be added to our NDI solution at the beginning, to have the NDI KVM through our system. But as for web contribution, probably not something we are really going to do pretty soon. At least it's not the major thing we are thinking about right now. The new version of VT Guest, especially for Mac. Yeah, we are going to redesign VT Guest. It's already in production right now, and the concept is going to be changed. Right now you have to manually select what feed you would like to get from the studio at the guest site, and what we would like to do is to actually make it more central controlled. So you are just asking your client, on remote client, to start VT Guest application and then control everything from the central point. And yeah, this is a work in progress. Regarding the macOS version, it's also in the progress. As I mentioned before, the cross-platform VT SDK will allow us to do so, but I can't really give you any exact dates when it will be available. Does CPU encoding rely more on single thread or multi-threaded processing? It's multi-threaded, but it's more relied on the actual hardware. So in some cases we can use quick sync encoding, so it's separate modules of the CPU which is doing encoding, and in case if we have to fall back to the pure software solution, yes, it's multi-threaded. Can you show how we have to set up vMix audio output work with VT? Yes, sure. So in case of if you are relying on our software to make the mix minus creation, so in the settings you have enabled the mix minus, then in case of you are receiving the audio feeds from your guests into the vMix, and the output which are supposed to go back into our software as a studio feed have to include every audio at your studio. For example, the one which I have from my local camera, assume that I am the host at my studio, and all the other guests, they are supposed to be not present in the mix minus which is sent back. So for example, if I have my feed here and two guests which is on channel 5 and 6 right now, I will have a separate bus A, for example, for this mix. We call it total mix minus. So it means that we have the mix of every studio sound minus all the guests you are receiving. So I will have my channel 1 coming from the link on bus A, and for all of those guests which are coming from India right now, I just don't need them to be in the bus A. And then for the feed, which is currently it's my output 4, which is this 2 boxes, I can go into the settings for the outputs and select that in my case on the NDI output 4, I would like as the audio channel not to be master. I would like to bus A to go to there, and now I have my studio feed which contains only the audio coming from my, if I will enable all the guests, you can see that all of them are going into the master feed which I will be streaming, But at the same time, those two guests coming from NDI, they are not going into bus A, and we are not receiving it into our software. So the rest of the guests will be mixed in by our software individually for each specific guest. And you can play with it, and it's pretty easy to understand how it works. The next one, that depends on your license, how many guests. Is it cost per guest? The way we'll do licensing for our software, it's based on the number of simultaneous video streams you have. So if we are talking only for the web guests, yes, each web guest is counted as one channel. We are not counting the return channel coming from the studio back to the guests. We just decided that it's too much to actually count each guest as two video feeds. But in all the rest of the situations, if you are sending the video feed just from one VT publisher to another location with a VT receiver, each of those individual video feeds is counted. So the total amount of simultaneous video streams is basically the amount of channels you will need to license. The max channel seems to be 20 right now. What if I need to manage 200 people? Do I need to spin up 10 servers, or can a license be adjusted? The way licensing works, that you are just buying one license and put it on as many machines as you like. It's our central signaling server is managing when and where each individual license channel is used. So in your case, you can buy the 200 channel license, and it's basically doesn't matter how many software instances you have, unless you do not exceed the amount of simultaneous video streams going through the network using our software. In terms of the number of servers you will need, it all depends on the quality and basically the resolution and the frame rate of the video feeds you are using, since every guest basically requires the decoding of that guest, and depending on the setup, it's also the amount of processing you need to encoding the studio feed going to your guests. There is an option in the settings to switch the encoder for web guests and previews to be VP9, which is better quality, but it's pure CPU powered encoding, or you can switch to GPU or H.264 encoding, and in that case you will have this stream encoded only once and sent to all the guests. But at the same time, you will have the drawback of the thing that we will have to encode in the quality of the least, among all your guests, there always will be someone who have the worst bandwidth available. So we will have to adapt our encoding based on this minimum bandwidth available among all the guests. So in some cases, it can save you on the processing power, but if you do have enough processing power, we do recommend to use VP9. In that case, we will encode each individual stream for each guests, and it might be a better quality, but it all depends on your setup. But you are right that for 200 people, you will probably need a few servers to cope with that amount of connections. Can you have multi-view output of all the connected guests? Not right now, but we are working as a part of redesigning the concept of the web contribution. We are working on the idea to have this multi-viewer feature enabled by default. So you will have, probably I'm coming too early on that, but just to let you know that we are working on the specific solutions for this conference and type of environment. Then basically your clients would like to connect and start talking, and they don't really care how you do your video production. And so we decided to go from that side to basically look at the way your contributors or your conference guests will interact with the software, first from the basically conferencing type of thing, and then from the broadcast side. So there is a work on which is currently undergoing in our development department to make all the things together, to make the fluent environment for every guest to participate in the conference, but at the same time do not have any compromises in terms of the quality for the video feeds you are sending to your vMix or to the SDI output or in any other direction. So back to your original question, there is no multi-viewer right now, but we're working on implementing it. So the next one, we use TriCaster. All the audio for our production is sent first to a mixer via XLR. From there, it's sent to the TriCaster. TriCaster is set so all video inputs get their audio from the same XLR input. Okay, while VT is a great solution, the audio is embedded with the video on the SDI. We have a Blackmagic card that can send and receive 4 feeds at each at a time. How can I output the audio from multiple VT receive streams to XLR so my audio person can control? Oh, okay. So the question basically is that how to get the audio from the video streams and send it to the separate audio output for each individual feed. This is something which is a little bit tricky right now. There is the third-party software to do the NDI audio de-embedding, and that you can use for this type of output. But yes, we are aware that this is the limitation of our software right now, that we can only output embedded audio or send it via NDI. And yeah, we already have some ideas in mind how we're going to do it in VT 2.0. We will have the audio routing metrics, which will allow you to basically send any audio feed to any destination. So no matter where we got it from the SDI, from the remote feed, or from NDI, you will be able to have a metric switching control where you would like the signal to go. Yeah, right now it's a bit tricky. You will have to use the third-party software, but we are working on a solution which will be integrated. Is the guest for VT stream P2P or via your servers? It's PTP almost all the time. We do have to go through our servers if for any reason there is no option to make the direct connection between the receiver on your side and the remote guests. And in the release we just made today, we also made a cloud of gateways which also work the same way for our SRT connections. In VT 2.0 version of the connection management, we can also route the traffic through our gateways. But it's more about the safety feature right now. So we are doing something which sometimes called the bonding type of thing. Basically, it's multipathing in our case, and we are establishing a few connections at the same time, and we are using just one at a time. But in case of something happens, we can switch from one connection to another. But most of the time, we are trying to get P2P connection and only fall back to turns or gateways in case if it's not possible. Can you change the return feed to remote guest without changing their link? Basically, I do understand where this comes from. It's coming from the concept that each individual source in our software has the specific access ID, and each individual source has this access ID. And if you want to switch to something different, you basically have to send this new URL to the person. There is workaround for that, but it's not designed right now into user interface. For those who really would like to dig into that, if you will open the file which is called publisher.xml, it's in the DLL folder, and you can find there the permanent ID for each individual link. And what you can do if you ever need to swap one source to another, you can basically use the permanent ID from one source and type it in as an ID for another source. Of course, you will have to restart the publisher, so it will read this file once again. But just don't forget that the same ID can be used only for one source. Don't try to put it in for different sources. So there's workaround for what you are trying to accomplish, but it's not the way it's currently presented in the user interface. So it's more about the tips and tricks type of thing. Super League Gaming, and not by changing what forming out of vMix output for, but wrote the yeah. So it was a continuation of the same. Yeah. So as I described, you will have to restart the VT Publisher and change the XML file settings. Can you use the software in AWS? Yes, you can, and there are a lot of clients who use our software in the clouds. The only thing is that you will have to use the instance which is we just have GPU. So just keep this in mind. For the corporate conference, the share screen and remote control of representation from the studio is essential. Yes, we do know that this is really, really useful type of features, and that's why I was telling that we are currently thinking about redesigning the overall look and feel of our web guests for this conference type of environment. How adds network streams UDP or RTMP? There is an option to use add URL button, and you can type in the RTMP stream in here. So just click in add URL and type in stream here. But basically, I would not really recommend to use that feature that much, because in this case, we can't really rely that we will get the correct RTMP stream all the time, and probably you might lose some of the features of the actual transport while using unreliable UDP or NTMP connection, and then converting it into our much more robust video transport. So probably you better look for a way to get the VT Publisher as close as possible to the actual video source and have it connected via SDI or NDI. It's really hard for me to translate the next question, which is... Oh, yeah, okay, so I got the translation. Someone was asking to enable YouTube translation. I don't really know that I can do it in your live feeds. So sorry for that. I will look for it for the next time, probably. No, probably it was already enabled by some of us, as far as I see in our internal chat here. What is the name of the software to do the audio routing to XLR? I can't really tell you the name during this webinar, but what I can suggest, just Google for NDI de-embedder and you will find it. Are there any plans to incorporate color management between the different rooms, green room, breakout room. Yes, we do have a plan, as I mentioned a little bit before. We do have a plan to have a dashboard which will allow, oh, probably I haven't mentioned. Yeah, so the dashboard will have an option to have a central control of all the guests, and you will have an option to mute, unmute the different participants, and also move them between the groups. So to have this type of functionality like the green room, then you are preparing your guests to be connected to your main group in the show, and then just drag them into the actual active group. And we're also thinking about incorporating the individual intercom feature, which will allow you to talk to each individual guests. And also we would like to have another cool feature to have a way to make the large text overlay for the return studio feed to each individual guest if you would like to get someone's attention, if they are for any reason do not listening for you or had their headsets off. Then you can just put a large label that will show on the screen, probably with some kind of red background to get their attention. So yeah, there are a lot of features we are currently working on for this specific large conference type of environment. And if you have any other suggestions, you can actually email it to me, and I'm really keen to look for different ideas what we can improve. So do not hesitate to drop me an email. I will just ask my colleague right now to put some title with the email. Yeah, just give me a second. Yeah, here is it. So just type in your message, and I will be glad to answer to any of the questions you have, or if you have any suggestions that some of the features you believe should be added into our software or web guest specific scenario. So do not hesitate to write. Can we get custom URL for the web preview? Yes and no. So right now we are generating the IDs for the streams based on kind of auto generation, so we do not collide with the different preview URLs. There is an option to customize that thing for on-prem editions. So if you have a really large production and would like to have the customized way of showing things to your clients, you can go on-prem and you can get the white labeled version, which allows you to change the look and feel of our web-based contribution, have your own logo, have some watermarks. So it's comes with a premium cost of our on-prem white label edition. Can we change the M platform usage to GPU without CPU? I believe that question is a little bit from a wrong story. I'm the product manager for video transport, not for the M platform. So it's another Alex you have to ask for. And probably you better direct your question there. But probably if you will type in your email, we will get back to you. Okay, looks like that's it for now to the questions that I had. Thanks everybody for joining us today, and let me get some of the final questions before we will wrap up with all of those questions for today. Thanks for all of our customers, and I would like to use this opportunity right now to tell thank you for all of our customers who've been supporting us and making a lot of suggestions for the new features you would like to have The full of our crew has been working really hard to make all of the new things into our software, and would like to wish you the Merry Christmas. And the one final thing I would like to show today, which is the major one actually for us, and probably might be unnoticed by some of our clients. I already mentioned that we are working on the Video Transport 2.0 version, which is the major redesign for us, and there are a lot of things happening in the background, and probably stays unnoticed by most of our clients. But what we basically did today, while releasing the latest version of our software, is the one small part of the software is the new connection method. And first of all, there is the global settings right now in our software. There is a gear button at the top right corner. Now a lot of settings which you had to change before in the XML file, some of obscure settings. And right now there is a global settings window, and on the top there's VT 2.0 SRT mode experimental toggle switch. And this is a really major thing for us. Our team has been working like half a year actually, or even more, on this technology of bringing the much better experience for the video transmission to our clients. And officially it released today as an experimental mode for now, but we encourage all of our clients at least to try switching to the 2.0 SRT mode, and let us know what you think. According to our tests, the connection become much more stable. It works a little bit differently in the way we are doing the correction inside the streams. As I mentioned before, we are now using the gateways for multipath type of thing, and try a lot of other improvements basically. So I believe it should be really major thing for us. Probably it's not perfect right now, that's why we are still calling it experimental, but at least it's really a great leap forward for us to have this improvement as a beta testing now, and it will be the core part of our major redesigned application, which will have a 2.0 version. And another thing which we added in the last release is now we have the 10-bit video support for the Blackmagic cards, as well as the capture of 444 color space. And one thing to mention here, that to enable all of those 10-bit or 444 color space feature, you also have to enable the internal engine we have to move to be effective enough to process all of those large color spaces. You have to turn on the GPU pipeline. It's the different way we process the image inside our software. It's mostly relying on GPU to do all the different type of transforms for the color space, resizing of the image, and this is another improvement we are basically made available to our clients with this official release. So it's the last release of this year, and you can think of this as our present for our active customers, and we are looking forward into the future for all the new features to come next year. And we are starting this path of new features coming with this official release today, and we are really really pleased by the feedback from all of our clients. We've been having a lot of emails with a lot of suggestions what you would like to be added, and so thanks for all of that, and we hope to support you in next year and for the success of all the different video production companies, and thanks again, and see you next time. Email me if you have any questions or suggestions, and I will be really, really glad to answer any of those. And bye for now. Have a nice Christmas. See you on our next webinar next year.